Something is moving through our solar system. Something fast, something strange. And according to the most powerful space observatories on Earth and now the James Webb Space Telescope itself, this is not just another asteroid or wandering comet. It's not debris. It's not natural noise. And it's definitely not behaving like anything we've catalogued before. First, it appeared as a glimmer in old data. Then, as an object with speed and trajectory that didn't fit any known pattern, and now it has a name, 3I Atlas. It's coming from deep interstellar space. But what makes this visitor terrifying isn't just how fast it's moving or where it's going. It's how it's behaving and what some believe it might actually be. Because when James Webb pointed its eye toward it, the data it returned sent an unspoken message, a whisper from the stars, that we may not be alone, and worse, that someone may have just found us. It all began in late June when the Atlas system, a powerful early warning telescope array designed to detect potential impact threats, picked up something odd. A dim, fast-moving object appeared in multiple images, not once, but repeatedly. It wasn't on any known list of asteroids or comets. And when scientists calculated its trajectory, the results were chilling. It wasn't orbiting the Sun. It was plunging through the solar system on a hyperbolic path, meaning it came from outside interstellar space. Within days, observatories across the globe began tracking it. The Minor Planet Center received over 100 confirmed sightings. NASA verified the discovery and, just like that, 3I Atlas joined a very short list of cosmic visitors who don't belong here. But this wasn't just another rock. This one was different. It was fast, faster than most. It was bright, too bright, as if something about its surface wasn't natural. As speculation swirled, a familiar name entered the conversation, Avi Loeb, the controversial Harvard astrophysicist who once suggested that 2017's Oumuamua might have been an alien probe. Loeb immediately called for the James Webb Space Telescope to focus on 3I Atlas. He wasn't alone. Dozens of astronomers agreed because this object didn't behave like a normal comet. Its brightness didn't match its estimated mass. Its shape appeared inconsistent with known bodies. And worse, if it were dark and rocky, it would have to be enormous to reflect that much light, much bigger than Oumuamua or Borisov, the only two other confirmed interstellar visitors. Loeb proposed looking for non-gravitational acceleration, a kind of subtle motion that can't be explained by gravity alone. The kind of motion that, if detected, could only come from something with its own propulsion. When James Webb finally turned toward 3I Atlas, expectations were high, but no one expected what it found. The object's infrared signature didn't align with any known model. It wasn't emitting heat like a comet. It wasn't reflecting light like an asteroid. Instead, its surface appeared unusually smooth. Its energy profile suggested no signs of outgassing or tail formation, but slight periodic variations in brightness, almost like it was tumbling, or worse, rotating with intention. This was no ordinary rock. It moved cleanly, predictably, and the data Webb collected showed a strange spike, an irregular but repeating signal in the infrared range. Not a beacon, not a radio transmission, but something more primitive, something mechanical. A pattern in light, perhaps the only way a silent machine could speak through the void. Before 2017, we had never observed a single confirmed interstellar object, not one. Then came Oumuamua, thin and fast, with strange acceleration and no tail. Then came Borisov, a comet that looked somewhat more familiar but still baffled researchers with its origin and composition. And now, within just a few years, comes 3I Atlas, brighter, stranger, and eerily timed. 3 in under a decade. Some scientists say we're just getting better at detection. Others aren't so sure. Why now? Why so close together? Has something changed in the galactic neighborhood? Or have we simply gotten close enough, advanced enough, to start detecting what's always been passing by? If these are visitors, then the question isn't when they'll arrive, it's whether they've already started watching. As James Webb continued tracking 3I Atlas, its fluctuating brightness evolved into something more than a simple astronomical curiosity. The fluctuations weren't random. They occurred in fixed intervals. And those intervals, when translated into a sequence, matched mathematical patterns we humans recognize: prime numbers, Fibonacci ratios, and binary timing sequences. Researchers from multiple institutions attempted to dismiss it as rotational dynamics. But AI systems used to detect anomalous astronomical behaviors flagged it repeatedly as non-natural variance. The light wasn't just bouncing off it, it seemed to be modulating, as if it were using light itself to encode information. The terrifying part? That light had been blinking at Earth long before we even noticed it. And if it was sending something, the question becomes, for whom? Because sometimes a signal doesn't need a reply. It just needs to be seen. Trajectory analysis brought new problems. 3I Atlas wasn't just moving fast, it was threading its way through the solar system with uncanny precision. It missed the outer planets by safe distances, but not by randomness. Its path weaved between gravitational wells like it had been plotted with precision, like a needle passing through a cosmic thread. Computer simulations ran thousands of random trajectories for objects entering the solar system on similar hyperbolic orbits. Not one matched 3I Atlas's curve. Its path didn't match gravitational capture, solar slingshot, or cometary drift. The most shocking possibility emerged when analysts calculated where it would go next. It wasn't simply passing through, its projected path would take it eerily close to Earth's orbital neighborhood. Not colliding, not even near enough to panic, but just close enough to see us clearly, then disappear forever, like a drive-by from something watching and evaluating. With each layer of new data, a radical idea gained traction in dark corners of the scientific world. 3I Atlas might not be a probe in the way we understand it. Not a craft, not a vehicle, but a monitor, a device built not to land, not to interact, but simply to pass through, record, analyze, and send data home. The concept isn't new. Even we, as humans, have considered sending similar passive monitoring devices into interstellar space, long duration, no-return scouts that fly by alien systems collecting everything they can, never needing to slow down. If we've imagined that, why wouldn't someone else have done it first? And if 3I Atlas was built long ago by minds far beyond us, then it may not care about being detected, because maybe its mission is already over. Maybe the only reason we're seeing it now is because we've become interesting enough to notice. As the data poured in, one final theory began to chill the room. 3I Atlas didn't just move unnaturally. It appeared self-regulating. Its minor course corrections, heat dissipation, and light signature shifts weren't just consistent, they were adaptive. Unlike a passive rock or programmed satellite, this object seemed to learn. The possibility arose that it wasn't entirely mechanical or entirely alive, but something in between, a form of biomechanical intelligence forged in a crucible of physics we don't yet understand. A hybrid observer, a silent messenger of a civilization so old, so evolved, that the lines between machine and organism have long since blurred. What if 3I Atlas isn't just an object? What if it's a being, built not of circuits and steel, but of light, intention, and time? And what if it's not the first of its kind to come through our system, just the first we've ever seen? In the final observations before 3I Atlas slipped beyond the range of most telescopes, astronomers expected a rapid dimming, typical behavior for hyperbolic objects as they receded from the Sun and returned to interstellar darkness. But that's not what happened. Instead, 3I Atlas maintained its brightness, defying the inverse square law. And then something even stranger occurred. It paused, just slightly, barely perceptible, but measurable. A tiny deviation in its velocity, a hesitation, as if it had stopped, not from gravity, not from a collision, but from choice. For a brief 40 minutes, it hovered in place relative to the background stars, holding its orientation, emitting that same patterned light sequence. And then, almost as if satisfied, it accelerated again, smoothly, deliberately, silently. This wasn't a gravitational anomaly. It wasn't solar pressure. And it wasn't a coincidence. It was behavior, purposeful, focused, like something that had finished its scan and was moving on. But to where? And more disturbingly, why now? Why appear just as our instruments became powerful enough to notice? And if we've seen this one, how many have passed before, just out of reach? For centuries, we've stared at the sky, projecting our hopes, fears, and myths into the void. We've sent messages, searched for echoes, and convinced ourselves that silence meant safety. But silence is not the absence of presence. Sometimes silence is deliberate. And now, with 3I Atlas slipping back into the shadows, we're left with the most terrifying realization of all. It wasn't lost in space. It was passing through, watching, measuring. Not by accident, but by design. This wasn't just a rock. It wasn't debris. It wasn't even a visitor. It was a question, posed in light, motion, and impossible mathematics. A question we've spent lifetimes preparing to hear. And now that we've heard it, what will we do with the answer? The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most powerful eye, didn't just capture an image. It captured a moment, a fracture in our assumptions, a ripple in our arrogance, and a whisper from the stars that says, "You are not alone, and you never were." Because maybe the universe doesn't send messengers with faces. Maybe it sends objects that don't speak because they're never meant to stay. Maybe it sends a single blink in the dark, just long enough to see if we're finally looking. If this discovery disturbed you, if it made you question what really moves through the darkness around us, if it made you feel small, exposed, and yet impossibly curious, then don't let this moment fade. Subscribe to this channel. We follow the objects others ignore. Turn on notifications, because this story isn't over. Share this video with someone who still believes we understand the sky. Comment below, do you believe 3I Atlas is natural, or something else entirely?